Hi guys, welcome to Digital Journal 3. I want to just open up this digital journal by talking about the transgender oppression readings. And just start off with the first one, the introduction, How Sex Changed, a History of Transsexuality in the United States. And I think that this reading introduced some key concepts and gave us some direct definitions and statements. But I think that it's a bit dated, and especially some of the verbiage used and the language and the way they explain things is a little bit outdated. Like you would never call a trans person a transsexual. And so the fact that they have it in the title, A History of Transsexuality in the United States, is kind of just already dating itself. And I think it's from early 2000s. I think 2006. But I just wanted to just note that because right off the bat, that introduction was just using some language that we wouldn't normally use in today's society in 2019. And then another thing that I wanted to touch base on was the fact that out of all the readings that we did, only one of them was written by a transgender person. And I think that that's something to really take note of, because that just proves right there that there's underrepresentation of trans people in society and in education. And I think that underrepresentation is huge, and it needs to be something that is changed, because we take all these classes about the transgender voice in music education, and we are learning about transgender oppression, but none of these opinions, none of these readings, and none of our educating is being done by transgender people. And I think that that's something that really, really right off needs to change, because if we never give them that space to speak, and if we talk over them and figuratively talk over them, and if we interject our opinions when we don't even have that experience as cisgender people, I think that really, really limits our understanding, and that really, really is not creating a safe space. It's not getting actual representation and actual opinions of trans people. And so how can we understand their struggle when we're talking about their struggle for them? So I think that's something that I really, really want to make sure to tackle. I know that I could never speak for a transgender person. So I would like to, and I think society as a whole needs to get their opinion on things, because there's a lot of misunderstanding and hate that I think that we need to just make sure we solve by giving them a space to talk about their struggles, so that we can actually understand and they can become equals in our society, because it's something that we're struggling with a lot right now. And I think that this transgender oppression is super relevant right now. And another thing that I wanted to touch base on was the reading of the Can't I Sing with the Girls, because it kind of sparked a memory in my mind from high school when I was in choir, and my choir director would gender voice parts. I don't think it was on purpose. It was just something that just that heteronormativity. It was just something that had been ingrained in him. Sopranos and altos, he would call us ladies. I remember my freshman and sophomore year, he would say, ladies, okay, stand up and sing Measure 54. And then, tenors and basses, he would call men or guys, okay, guys, stand up and sing, Measure 54. And I slowly saw him shift his pronouns of how he referred to us in the choir. So sopranos and altos were no longer, ladies. He would refer to us as our voice parts. He would make sure later on in our high school career, he would refer to us as our voice parts, so that he would stop the gendering of those voice parts, because we actually ended up having transgender people come out in our choir, and he made sure to shift those pronouns. I remember it was kind of a weird transition, because I remember being like a little bit like confused about it in high school, like junior year, when he started to sort of switch these pronouns. And I remember my friends like asking about it and making some comments about it. I just think that reading the can I sing with the girls, can't I sing with the girls, really, really hit home for me, because my choir director made sure to open up a space for the transgender people in my choir, so that he wasn't misgendering anybody, because there are a lot of people who identify as male who sing great alto, who have great alto voices and great soprano voices even, and so the gendering of voice parts, I think, is something that I definitely want to make sure I'm not doing in my choir as well. I just thought it was really cool how he was able to really work actively at switching his pronouns, and making sure he wasn't misgendering anybody, and opening up that space for those people. So that was something that really hit home. And then I guess I'm gonna move on to the readings about disability. So obviously, like, this is something that especially like really, really resonates with me, because I have type 1 diabetes, so I am physically disabled. And so a lot of these readings, just like the disability Act, like struggle for freedom, disability rights movement, that reading was shocking to me, because of how recently we just the laws like of not discriminating against people with disability just got put in place. I thought it was a lot earlier than that, but when I actually read it, the dates are not so like far away as I thought they were. And I think like just the last reading too, recognizing ableist beliefs and practices and taking action as an ally, that's something that is hugely important, because you can say you're an ally, but talking the talk is not the same as walking the walk. I think like that's something that Dr. McCall was saying, like, yeah, you can wear the t-shirts, you can say you're an ally all you want, but are you actually giving these people access to your space, what you're doing? And I think that that's something that you can just continue to work on, is opening up your space for more people and making it more accessible. I think that something I want to make sure of is especially in choir and stuff with the risers and everybody's standing and stuff. I think it's especially hard and could be very patronizing for a person with a wheelchair to participate in choir. So I want to make sure that I'm making this space available. Any accommodations that we need, I want to make sure that I would put those in place. Especially in choir with the walking on stage and everything is very orderly and has levels, everyone's on a riser. I think that that's something that like I could really, really work on, is thinking about how that would work, how that order would work, how that presentation would work with a person who is physically disabled in the choir. And I also think that just making sure that choir is a class that everyone can take, no matter like who you are. I think that something that I really want to do is reach out to the mental disability community within my school, because I think that music really, really helps them. I remember when I was in choir, we would go and sing to them, and their reaction was just great. And I want to make sure that this class is a class that is a safe space for everybody and everybody can actually participate in it. So when I reach out to the mentally disabled community in the school, I want to make sure that I'm actually giving them a chance to be in the choir and make any accommodations that they would need. And I think especially as a diabetic person, too, it's something that just is greatly appreciated, is just the understanding and just the effort of the teacher putting in any effort at all to make your time easier and make you feel like you are like with everybody else on the same level as everybody else.